What's going on, boys? It's Flaws, and in this video we're going to be going over the ultimate default guide to the T side on Mirage. Starting with the palace position, I kind of tend to put some pressure towards this early just because it lets the CTs kind of respect the palace position, and they won't really be pushing through this too many rounds in a row, right? You want to hold for this initial aggression. Once you feel like they're not really going to hit it, you can hold from that side, you can hold from here. You're just kind of holding, making sure the CTs don't freely push through palace. Same thing goes if you have maybe an op or the bomb and you want to be playing from a little bit more of a safe position. You can play from here and watch this cross. If anyone does start to creep up, still an easy kill, if you peek into them. But it just makes sure that no one on the CT side's pushing through palace for completely free. Another thing you can do is, once we start to get a little bit deeper in the round, you can start to work up and hold from a little bit more off-angle positions like here, right? If they swing out, it's a really hard kill for the CTs when they're pre-aiming a little bit higher. They actually flick down to you when you're already pre-aimed on where they're going to be swinging out to. So really good spot right here. Also, if you're playing tucked in this corner, you'll see the CTs before they actually think that they can be exposed. So you can get some free kills this way because the CT is going to be peeking long. They're not really expecting you to be playing in this tight corner. So keep that in mind if you're just holding. But now let's get into the nades that you can actually throw from the palace position. A lot of the times it gets really awkward when you get smoked out palace. Your team's like, all right, we're hitting it, and you're like, well, I'm smoked out, right? You're not completely useless in this position. What I like to do is crouch down right here. I'll find this bracket in the door, and then you'll go to this first crooked bar. Crouch down, stand up like this. As long as you're pushing in the corner with this lineup, it's going to land under palace, right? So you can do that with a molly, throw a flash to follow it up as well. Really good way to help your team actually get out this Tetris position. It's hard for them to pull out mollies and nades and molly this under palace position because they don't know when the person's going to swing. If you throw that molly, kind of make sure that the CT's pushed out here. If the CT gets mollied out with it, they're going to be full blind if they're peeking wide. Your team's also not blind by that flash, so anyone that's in the site here, playing one of these positions, right, they're holding this headshot, kind of pixel angle for info, or they're playing a little bit deeper in sight, just kind of rotating off and trying to get picks as you guys are running in. That's a really good flash to just kind of blind them. But it's a really good way to help your teammate out and not be completely useless when you get smoked out. I do see people that tend to throw lurk smokes for palace. I don't like it personally. I think it's a lot more effective if you're actually just working with your team. You're not the first one to peek out. And I think the palace position is really strong in the after plant. So if your team gets out onto the site and you can kind of help them, I don't think swinging CT is great, but if you, gauge the round, how it's being played out. If you feel like you need to help your teammates, that's fine, but try to keep one person in palace for that after plant position because it's really hard for the CTs to actually isolate this person, and it makes it a lot more awkward for the CTs to actually retake the site, right? So I think it's very strong, so try to stay in palace. If you do actually get into that situation where it's really awkward and you do need to smoke out the CT position, like maybe it's a 1v1 and you know where the last person is, but you're stuck in this palace, think that they're opping or whatever it might be. What I tend to do, and this is pretty rare that you'll see people throw this, but I think it's really strong. You'll find this little gap right here. Just make it so that you can see a little bit, or you can use this door frame as a reference. So find that, line it up with the door like that. Then you're going to aim up, and you'll find this line. Just aim slightly down from it, and you're going to be running forward until you hit this post right here. And then you're just going to be left clicking your smoke. So line it up like that, right? Perfect. Line it up here, left click to smoke. It's a really good smoke for CT. It's obviously very awkward to actually swing out and throw a smoke for CT and try to help your team get out, but it's a really good way to just kind of throw that, and you can get out into the site, get the bomb down, but you actually just give yourself a little bit more options in case you do fall into that situation into a round, right? Same thing if you want to smoke stairs right here. Just aim at this kind of like hash marks on the door, right? And then you're just going to walk through like that. If you want to run through it, you just aim a little bit more in the corner of the stairs like that. That's essentially the same thing. Just watch out if anyone does want to drop down into sandwich. This is a problem in the round, so just make sure your team knows that there could be someone that drops down. Obviously you'll hear them, but it could give the CT like a kind of big play, right? So always be aware of that, but it is a good way to just kind of make sure that you can get out. For jungle, I would say just swing it, or you can throw a flash off the door right here, right? Pops, then you can swing with that. But it's really tough to smoke out jungle, so I'd say most of the time just work on smoking CT. Stairs is like, sometimes it's worth it to smoke it out, but to get out in jungle, maybe just take that fight. It's a pretty tight angle for you to take. It's not the worst fight to take. But that's basically it for palace. Going towards ramp, what I tend to do, you'll see a lot of the times people will go for this peek initially, right? They'll try to see that cross and hopefully hit that headshot on the people that are running by, or they'll try to op it. But if you have a really good spawn for this position here, I'll actually sometimes run right over to the ramp position, right? Load a nade, and I'll actually just throw it right up like this. It's pretty safe to actually do this. The nade can do a lot of damage on anyone that's crossing, or if they're looking for this fight early. And if the CTs have anywhere but the best spawn, they're going to take a lot of damage from this if they're trying to push over to that connector position. And it's pretty safe to do that as well, right? So just run through here, line it up, throw a nade like that, and then you can basically just hold for a sec. But it makes the CTs play a lot differently. Like sometimes they'll just completely avoid crossing, and it makes it a little awkward for the CTs to actually safely play in this connector position, which is a very strong position to play on the map. But keep that in mind. I don't see a lot of people using that, but it is a really good nade. Once you get to this position here, you know, they might nade molly it. If they do take this position, it's a lot harder for your team to actually safely take the A site, because if someone's here, they can get one kill, peek out, get maybe another kill, or at least put a little bit more damage onto your team. And that's a really good call for the CT that they're going to be taking the site, right? You can hear footsteps on anyone that's rotating in, as you can see right there. It shows in the minimap. You can hear the footstep range, so you can get a lot of info. Same thing for top mid, you can hear people if they're chair. So if any CTs do get into this position, it's really difficult to actually retake. So what I like to do towards the ramp position, start of the round, make sure you're at least just grabbing this position, okay? Yeah, you might get smoked out, you might get mollied out, but as long as you can put some pressure back on the CTs, it's really good. If you have a smoke to spare in the round as well, you can back up into this corner, come down. Doesn't matter too much on this wall, but I like to aim for this big brick right in the middle, throw a smoke like that, follow it up with a flash if you really want, but it's really just to lurk and kind of make the CTs feel uncomfortable. The reason I line it up with that brick is sometimes you can get a little one-way in the smoke if you go quick enough. You can see someone CT. Keep in mind, some people know about that, so they might just kind of spam you down from this triple box, right? It's still a really good smoke, puts a lot of pressure on the CTs, and they might start throwing tons of nades to try to hold you back here. Sometimes if the CT smoke, like right about here as well, I'll tend to throw a molly, which this is not the most common thing, but I'll tend to throw a molly like this, off the wall, and then I just kind of spam this wall, and we jump up here, just kind of spam this wall. That smoke's actually pretty deep, so CTs don't tend to throw it that deep, but as you can see, it gets this corner right here if anyone's playing close. So if they're playing like in a box right here, or they're playing just kind of set up to peek for anyone that's like swinging out, that molly's gonna push them into this corner. So like that molly lands, they get pushed over here. Now they're playing in like a little bit more of like a safe position, and they're not really playing as aggressive, right? So I tend to do that if I feel like that they're playing close to the smoke. Let's say we just throw like the standard smoke real quick. Let's say they throw the smoke start, something like that, right? That pops, great. If I'm on the T side, I'll back up right here. Kind of aim like up from the stairs. It's more of like a feeling thing, but I'll throw the molly off the wall like this. That was actually a little deep for the molly, but that's fine. And then just kind of spam down at this box, right? That's gonna get you a free kill every once in a while. As you can see, that molly still lands. It's really easy to spread to that corner, but kind of a cool counter to anyone that plays close up, and I hope that helps just kind of default it out. If you guys don't have any nades or anything, I tend not to go for this peak too much just because it kind of favors the CTs, especially if they have an op. Yeah, going towards the mid position. Let's talk about it real quick. There's this couple different smokes for window. I think the biggest one is very common. It's just up from this square on the door to right here. And then you're just going to hold in your D key or whatever your right movement key is while you throw that, and then jump throw. You can also throw it from bottom of this window, just come across to right here. You're going to walk over or run over, and once you see that bump up, then you're going to throw your smoke. So like this. Bump up, and you throw the smoke. That's going to land for window as well. Whichever one you prefer, it doesn't really matter too much, but those are simple ways to smoke window if you don't know any already. If you're coming up to this mid position, I tend to molly con, so just like that. Great molly. If anyone's pushing up, they can still, you know, get into this corner, maybe fight. Try to get a little bit higher actually, so you can aim, let's say right about here. It's going to land right in that position, so no one can actually peek you, which is great. You can also lock people out in bottom mid if they're, you know, jumping through window and trying to fight this early. Really good way to kind of isolate that area and make it so it's a little more awkward for the CTs to actually put some more pressure on you towards middle, and no one can get flashed into mid from like someone from triple box, right? If you do end up getting this mid position, right, and you feel pretty comfortable, maybe you swung out and you lock this area in. A couple different things you can do from here. I tend to just keep this window mollied or at least smoked out, however you want to do it, but you basically just aim at the top here, back up to this wall, or whatever you want at the window. That's just going to kind of make sure that no one's peeking you as you're working through mid. If you do get to this bottom con position, I find it's very like effective to actually smoke the top of con, because there's a lot of reactions from the CT once you do this. They don't know exactly what you're doing, they don't know if you're already creeped up into stairs, right? Anyone on cat hears that and they're probably going to peek into you. Molly cat from here. Very simple stuff, right? But it's very effective to take this middle position because the CTs almost need it to rotate and get a feel for what you're actually going to do on the T side. So that's a really good way just to take mid. Very simple as well. If you want to get a little more complicated with it, you can molly window if you don't have a smoke, right? So just back up in this corner. Maybe you have someone smoke con at the start. I'd say probably throw it from a spawn if you can. If you want to know the spawn one, it's right here on this trash can. Aim down to the corner right here. Jump throw your smoke like that. It's going to land for con. Very simple stuff, but I'd say probably just smoke window. But if you do want to do this, you can have someone jump up here, post up in the back, run forward, jump throw their molly like that. Just make sure you get a good amount of steps, almost till you hit the shadow here, and then throw it like that. Gonna molly the entire window. You can actually pair this with a really good molly from underpass. So if you have a teammate you're playing with, have them throw this one right here. Aim at the corner where all those pieces meet. Actually, it's supposed to bounce, so I think that would be fine anyway. Yeah, it'd be fine regardless, but if it bounces, it actually does a little bit different of a thing. So aim a little bit to the right here. You can throw an HE with it as well, right? So what I would tend to do here is throw this molly first. So the underpass player throws this molly because CTs tend to sit right here, and that forces them either to play into the window, which you'll see a lot of the times they actually will, or it forces them to play so far back that maybe your palace player can actually pick them off if you throw that molly. Same thing if someone's opping right here and holding this palace position, that molly can actually force them into a weird position where they have to move, and you can get a free kill out of it, right? So it's a really good way to kind of force them out of that position. So molly there, then your teammate from top mid throws the molly, right? Bounces off here, molly's window. This person can basically just die fully from a molly, so it's a really cool way to actually utilize your mollies and do tons of damage with them, which it doesn't tend to do a lot of the times, but you do have to have some teamwork there in order to actually make that work. So after you throw that molly, you can also follow it up with a smoke, right? If you want to get into window, throw that. Okay, great. Work in a window. Then you can even walk through the vent here towards B. But yeah, it's different ways you can play the round out. Obviously, that smoke as well. Anyone's palace, they're gonna have to push through and hold from here, which makes it a little bit more awkward. They might not prefer it. So different ways to play like your middle underpass area. You're hitting cat, a very simple way to just kind of smoke it out is just run up here, throw smoke off the wall. You can basically just take all the cat with that smoke. Play in the ladder room if you really want, but simple way to smoke cat. If you're from behind the boxes, a couple different ways. One's right here. That's for that position if you're going to be running up con. Just aim at the top of the antenna, throw that smoke like that. If anyone plays through this, it's really easy to see them. Very easy kill. It should be an easy kill if your team is just kind of aware of that as well. So work up con with that smoke. You want to smoke out con. There's a couple different ways to do it. I would say though, don't get too fancy with it. Like mainly just throw a smoke as you're running up cat. Okay, perfect. That'll do the trick, right? Pops. You can work right up towards cat. I see people throwing it. It's like it takes too long to actually throw it and bounce it over the top. I tend to find like this is a better way to just kind of work through it. Also, if you're underpass, this is very situational as well, but if you're underpass and you think someone's playing on the A site and you don't really want to like deal with them, just aim at this piece while you're pushing to this corner, throw that smoke over the top. It does take a little bit to land, but it can be a really good way to isolate this like stairs and jungle player, right? You throw that smoke, you can start to lurk up here, even if it's like a pistol round or you just don't want to deal with the A players, you can really start to isolate this window position, right? I kind of feel like a lot of people don't isolate this position as much as you very easily could, as I just showed with a bunch of different nades. But it's really easy just to work these windows like players out and get those free picks and basically make it so that the side players have to worry about their back a lot more, right? So keep that in mind as you're playing. If you are going towards that B site, a couple different things you can do. What I tend to do is at the start of the round, if you want to just kind of neutralize this person from running in and setting up really early, you'll hear their footsteps at least. So like if you hear footsteps of someone running right here, just keep in mind like you can just wait it out, right? Once you feel like they're peeked out enough, then you can swing into them. You should win that gunfight. If you don't, no worries. Like that's kind of how Counter-Strike works. It's not like you're gonna win every single gunfight, but a way to like kind of just completely neutralize this person and take him out of the round and make it so they stop doing that is you're gonna peek out wide enough here at the top of the stairs, and you'll find these textures on the wall. Just aim at this like line, and then you're just gonna run forward and throw your flash off the wall right there. So I'll show it real quick in like real time. So here, okay, throw a flash off the wall, pops. You can peek with this, right? Sometimes a CT will be full blind by this, and the only play that they have is to tuck in this corner. If you think that they're in this corner, just kind of swing out here, crouch down, you just start working up on them. If you think that you can get the kill, you know, great, just swing on them a little bit wider. But the reason I say tuck down is because if they swing out, it's really awkward for them to actually clear you if you're close to the wall and crouch down, because one, they might not even see you like on the initial peek, but then they also have to adjust their crosshair. That's kind of why in Palace we did that like crouch down. So if anyone does swing into you, it's really awkward for them to actually adjust really quickly. You know, they might get the kill, but that's kind of how I like to just make sure that this underpass player knows that like underpass is for the T's. Not like that. That might happen if you don't actually run and throw it. So make sure you're getting enough speed on that. Throw that flash off, peek into him. Great way to control underpass pretty safely. And if you have a teammate as well, they can hold for that push before the flash pops. The flash pops, you know, they can start to work back towards this B position. If you're a B player, a really cool smoke you can throw is coming to this corner right here. Aim, let's see where this cross is actually. Sometimes I get it mixed up. But right here, you're gonna run forward until you basically are right at the bottom of the stairs, and then you're gonna jump throw. So like this. Can be a little forgiving. That one seems a little far, but yeah. So maybe it's like 2 steps here. So like that. That should be a little bit better. Either way, it's still gonna smoke CT. Just you kind of want it to land a little bit better, right? So that way it kind of gives you a little bit more room to move around. Even that one, kind of watch out for that. Like someone could have walked through there. Promise this smoke lands. Let me just work it a little bit better. That one looks perfect, right? So it's like 1 step, throw it, perfect, gonna bounce. Stands for CT. Really good for fakes, or if you maybe you're in a 1v1, you kind of want to like fake that you're going towards the A site. You throw this, they're gonna jump up, be like, where are they? You're on the other side planning, so it can be useful in some situations, but I'd say obviously you can see the consistency of it isn't the best, so just make sure you're like either practicing this one, or you actually just let your teammates know like what you're actually doing here. But you can land it consistently, it's just practice it a little bit more, right? Over towards the B site, very default nades you can throw right here. Just aim it slightly to the right. I find it lands a little bit better in that market window position. That one goes to market window, obviously, right there. You aim to the left right here. That's gonna be for cat. Doesn't get like this get right position that players tend to play, right? But I have a couple different ways to neutralize that in a little bit later. I'll talk about it. If you want to smoke the doorway, just come to this window right here, and then just jump through. Pretty simple, but that's kind of how I like to get out onto the B site. You can ask your teammates to throw your smokes as well. Really easy, get out on B site. If you're defaulting at the start though, what I like to do is I'll come right here, right? Just do a quick little jiggle to see if anyone's on this position. Okay, no one's there. I tend to see people are playing this a lot more, this jump spot, like head glitch spot. I just always hold for that at the start. Oop. People don't really like to commit to the top of the van unless they have like an op or they feel like they can win the fight, like maybe on an eco. So clear that out. Okay, start to work it a little bit more. Once you feel like you're pretty safe and you feel like no one's pushed up too far on this, you can just start to work different lurk smokes, different utility from here, right? Doing a pretty good lurk smoke, just push to this window corner right here, lock it in. And then you're gonna aim down from this bar and slightly to the right. So just right about there. Throw a smoke like that. It's a really good lurk smoke. If anyone's playing in that get right position, it's really awkward because they have to kind of swing out in order to actually fight you. If anyone's playing in this position, they do have a little bit of a view onto this position on the open window. Same thing goes for if anyone's playing right here. But the way that I kind of make sure that they can't get free kills is you jump up after that smoke. Just kind of find this like splotch on the wall. Just aim up from it, right about there, and throw a flash. So I'll show you what that looks like real quick. Over here. Okay. Oh, I actually messed that up. That's why you gotta aim a little to the right of it. Just like that. Jump up, throw this flash. I'll show you where that pops. So if anyone's get right, trying to swing on this angle, great flash for them. Anyone that's playing holding this open angle, it's a really good flash as well. It's gonna full blind them. And if anyone's playing holding this from this pillar on the back of site. Really good way to just kind of neutralize that side of the site. You can have your teammates, you know, jump out here, start to work up on the site, and maybe get some free kills as they're running in. So something you guys can try out in your game if you have free smokes. Obviously the molly for bench is great. You can throw flashes off the wall as your team's flying out. Get people that are playing in the back of site, right? Anyone that's playing like in this bench position, they swing out, or they're swinging towards you. That flash is going to full blind them, or they're just going to have to turn. But it makes it really awkward for the CTs to actually hold the site. Same thing, middle site, flashes like this, always great for people playing in the empty pillar. You know, they're holding this position, doesn't blind your teammates, but it's a really good way to kind of have them at least just unpeak for a quick second if they're opting or whatever it is, right? But these are just simple ways to kind of take control of the site. You don't have a smoke for that door position, you can throw a molly like this. Let me see, a little bit more to the left, so I guess slightly more to the right here, maybe in the middle of this, right? You can do that with a smoke as well, it's the same lineup. But that's going to do a really good job of just kind of keeping the CTs from rotating in super quickly if you feel like there's a couple that are in market. A good way to just keep them out of the site. I think that's pretty much it. I know it was a long video, so I'm thankful for you guys sticking with me through it. I hope you learned something, at least some nades. I'm sure someone didn't know all those nades out there. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one, and I appreciate you guys watching. Later.